What a Thanksgiving I had last night. Let me tell you. Let me tell you, folks. If you don't have a family, you should be legally prohibited from celebrating Thanksgiving because it's really not for you. And I said to a friend of mine, because we were both going to be in LA. Now, I could have flown home to be with my family, but I chose not to because I'm going to be back in town for Christmas. And I'm like, I'm on planes all the time. I just can't do it. I just can't make it happen. So I was in LA and I said to a friend of mine, I'm like, why don't we can go out to dinner, which is, you never go out on Thanksgiving. You never, ever go out on Thanksgiving. You do not leave your fucking house ever on Thanksgiving. Now, I don't know why I forgot that. I don't know why for whatever reason, that idea didn't register. I'm like, well, I'm in LA and things are different. But you don't. You sit on your couch and you fucking eat stuffing and you listen to your aunt talk about QAnon. What you don't do is fucking travel. You just don't do it. It's just not what you should do. And I forgot that. And I was looking at places that have Thanksgivings, and I find this place in Calabasas, which is where like the Kardashians live. It's out by Malibu. It's about an hour from my home in West Hollywood. It's about a solid hour. It's out there in the canyons with Kanye and fucking, there's big houses out there and, go fuck your mother money. And they have this place called the Saddle Peak Lodge. And the Saddle Peak Lodge, Rogan loves it. It looks like it's got big moose heads and elk, and it's a fucking lodge. It looks exactly what you think some Illuminati Mason lodge would look like, and it's in Calabasas, and supposedly it's good food or whatever. So I'm like, oh, we'll do it. And it was hard to get in because LA's got a lot of people that came to LA, and for whatever reason, they're still in LA, and they go out to dinner because they're either older or we were looking around. We got to this restaurant. First of all, it's an hour. It's raining. It's torrential rain. We get into an Uber. My friend shows up at my house. We get into a fucking Uber. It's torrential rain. It's 56 minutes in torrential rain in an Uber. And by the way, it's through canyons and up mountain. It's crazy. We think, and there's people that are, and we got a late reservation at 6:45. So the people on the road are already drunk. They're already coming back from things hammered. So like the guy's stopping and she's swerving in and out of lanes just to avoid these people that are shit-faced and left their fucking family party. So we're heading to this lodge in the middle of fucking nowhere to have a Thanksgiving. We get there, and by the way, when I say this place is hidden, it's an understatement. It is dark. You cannot see anything. My friend is mad. My friend who I love, but he's a pouty bitch. Like, he's pouty. He's one of these guys who doesn't tell you he's angry. He pouts. Mm-hmm. He's got the frame of a woman. He fucks a lot of hot chicks, but he's got the frame of, not now, he's got a girlfriend, but he's got the frame of a woman. And he acts very womanly and he pouts. He pouts, he whines. He whines and pouts, And so he's like already whining and pouts. So as soon as we get into the fucking Uber, it's a problem. It's so far away. It's all right. It's far away. We get there. There is an ambulance outside. There's a stretcher outside. I walk in. I tell them, I said, we have a reservation for 2 for 6:45. The maitre d' or the whatever, she goes, oh, okay, we're having a little issue here because there's 2 ambulances outside and a stretcher. And I said, oh, that's good. I'm having an issue too. It's called Thanksgiving dinner, and it's at 6:45 for 2 people. That would be my issue. And I'm glad that you're having an issue, but let's all have the issues together. I'm not taking no shit is what I'm saying. If you're killing people with your food and they're leaving in stretchers, that's clearly not my issue. Now, many of the people in LA, because they are demons from hell, agree with me, and they are now mad that their tables are not ready, and an uncomfortable amount of people are now cluttered around the maitre d', and we don't give a fuck, and we do not care at all. So the EMTs come in, they bring down this 90-year-old woman who's bombed, who's just the white Zin hitter or whatever, and she's asleep, and they put her on the stretcher and they take her out. By the way, this is great. Thanksgiving, you just show up to the restaurant and somebody's leaving in a stretcher. It's a great welcome. Happy Thanksgiving. So we get there. There's this old woman on a stretcher, hammered asleep. Okay. And we're having none of it because we've all been waiting 15 or 20 minutes. We're having none of it. Okay. We're mad at this woman. We're judging her. Somebody else goes, I bet she's just drunk. And I'm like, I bet she is too. She's just, this 90-year-old woman came here and she got shit-faced and now she's got, whatever. She fell asleep at the table or whatever. So I go to so after they clear the 90-year-old woman out, I go back to the hostess and go, listen, there's clearly a table open now, right? I mean, there's clearly, she's out. So, and she goes, well, I don't know if her party is going to leave. And I go, you don't know if her party is leaving? They're going to sit there. One of them just got taken out in a stretcher and they're going to sit there and eat cranberry sauce? Kick them out. Get them out of here. And she goes, well, I don't know if they're leaving, but we'll see. Don't worry. We're going to set the table shortly. It's like amazing to me. Some guy's in there with a service dog, a little collie who's running around with a service. And I said to my friend, Michael, I said, God help them. I said, if this food is not good, I am going to leave in a stretcher. Because the reality is there's no Ubers. I was like, there's no way an Uber is going to, we're fucked. And I'm genuinely going to call an ambulance to leave if I have to. I'm dead serious. No part of me is kidding. I'm like, I will call an ambulance and give a fake name like I've done many times before. And I will kick the door open and jump out of the ambulance and leave. Okay. And my Michael's getting a little uncomfortable because he knows I'm not, no part of me is kidding. So we finally sit down in this fucking lodge and we're looking around. And I mean, it is the damned. It is the damned in this place. People without families, older people. There's like a mom with two older daughters. You could tell the dad just died. Like they're very sad. And you could tell the dad just died. There's a table of like older people. One guy literally says loudly to the whole table of people, he goes, I wasn't supposed to be here. So that's the mood everyone's in. Some people are leaving in stretchers. So everyone knows that they're there because they failed at whatever. You're supposed to be in a home with family. You're not supposed to be in this lodge. Now to top it off, the food is also atrocious, which is great. It's Thanksgiving catering hall food. It's just bad. It's just not good. I'm sure it's a decent restaurant when it's normal. So I'm like, the food sucks. And then of course, my friend, there's this new thing where people start defending the restaurant now. Like happens a lot. People now, like when I'll comment on something, people start defending like my friend Michael's like, it's very hard to make food for this amount of people. I'm like, well, then do it for free. If it's that hard, we're all paying money for this. Figure out a way to do it. I mean, this is grotesque. One guy just literally yells at the top of his lungs. I swear to God, in the middle of the day, he goes, it's not hot. And then he's with some chick. She goes, I like it cold. And he goes, well, I don't. I want it hot. It's Thanksgiving. So the poor manager goes over to their table. And this guy, I wish I had a photo of him. He was the same guy that said, I wasn't even supposed to be here. He's having a full-on breakdown because this is his life. It is bad. It is Thanksgiving, and we're in the middle of a rainstorm in this fucking hunting lodge, and he's at this table of people, and no one cares about anybody, and there's no love, and all we want is the food to be fucking hot. Just make it hot. And he calls the manager over, and he goes, listen. He goes, I want it hot. It isn't hot. He swear to God, he goes like this to the manager. He goes, put your finger in it. The manager's like, I don't want to touch it. I believe you. The manager's like, I believe you. The guy's like, no, touch it. The guy takes the manager's finger and he puts it in the stuffing. And the manager goes, yeah, that is cold. He goes, so the manager now, the poor manager is shot. Everybody here is shot. It is a rainstorm. It is nasty. We finally get through dinner. It's not good. One of the waitresses was an older woman. She was funny. We're kind of kidding around with her. And at the end of the meal, I go to try to call an Uber, and there are no cars available. There are no cars. So we are in Malibu. We're in a canyon. There are no cars. There is no way to leave now. We now cannot leave. And So we finally get an Uber. He's like, I don't know, 30 minutes away. I mean, it's ridiculous. He's like 17 minutes away. He finally arrives. And I don't know where he is now. So I call him. And this is a thing that Uber drivers where they can't hear you, but I think they can hear you and they just keep saying hello. Like I was like, where are you? And he's like, hello? I'm like, where are you? I forget his name. It was like Armin. I'm like, Armin, where are you? He's like, hello? I'm like, Armin. He goes, I am at your place. I'm like, you're not here, Armin. You're not anywhere. So now I am in the middle of a canyon in the rain. I've left the restaurant. I'm walking up a block in the rain, about to get fucking pummeled by a mountain lion, screaming into my phone, Armin, where are you? I'm getting wet. Armin, I'm wet. So Armin just hangs up and cancels the ride, which I get charged $13 for. And then I gotta go to Uber and be like, okay, the guy didn't show up. The guy's nowhere to be found. So we go back in this place. We go back in the place. We're now sitting at the bar. And then this place also attracts there's a type of rich person in California who's very earthy, and like they're old hippies and their parents were hippies, but they have a lot of money and they inherited these big houses in like Laurel Canyon or Malibu or whatever. And me and Ben have been to some of these houses and they're like, and these people look like shit, but they're loaded. Mm-hmm. And they're all sitting at the bar. And that's the guy that goes, we should all go to Target. I'm like, that's not a half bad idea. It is Black Friday. So finally we call over the maitre d'. We go, can we get a cab? So she calls a cab. The cab is an hour away. So we have to sit. We're sitting now at the bar. Now, you think the people in the dining room are damned? You have no idea the group of the crew that is at the bar on Thanksgiving at this hunting lodge. Okay? One guy is literally just talking about cancer to no one. He's sitting at the bar and just talking about different kinds of cancer. And every now and then the bartender nods and fills up his glass. And he's just going on. He's like, yeah, my sister, there's Hodgkin's, there's non-Hodgkin. It's just, and then me and Michael's there. Michael's, of course, being a pouty bitch. He's like, it's a lot of money. This was a lot of money. And, he's being a cunt. And you want to just hold off and smack him in the face, And we're waiting there. Finally, the cab comes. This is now, we get in the cab. Now it's a solid hour to get to the Comedy Store in the rain, in the traffic and the rain. And we're in a cab, $100 to get back to West Hollywood. The whole night, the dinner was $300. The Uber out there was $100 and the Uber back was $100. So it was a $500 night. The food was horrific. It was just maybe one of the worst experiences we've ever had. The room full of people, we were all aware of how we looked at each other like, yep, and just gulped. Because we knew why we were there. We were there because we had made choices that led us away from the warmth of others. We've made choices that have led us in the other direction of the embrace of our loved ones. We had gone the other way. And now we're sitting in this fucking hunting lodge eating cold lobster bisque that's not even lobster bisque. It's literally butternut squash soup that they just threw lobster in. It's literally, I brought the waitress over. I go, this is butternut squash soup. She just starts laughing. She goes, yeah, that's what it is. I'm like, what are you doing? Okay? You shouldn't leave your home on Thanksgiving. Christmas, you can go out. Christmas is different. Christmas has a different vibe. There are people that go out for Christmas. It's split up into two nights, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So some people will go out on Christmas Eve or some people will go out on Christmas Day and they do the family the other night. And some people have to. Thanksgiving, if you are in a restaurant, you are damned. You are absolutely 100% damned. That is it. You have made poor choices and this is and it's sad. It's very, very sad. If you need, go get a potato and put a Marlboro Light in its mouth and watch that and then press play on your phone.